Take this movie as an example of why you should not take a picture book and make it into a 2-hour-long movie. This is the Polar Express. Those who have had the pleasure of not watching the Polar Express yet, good for you. The book is 10 times better. To understand my thoughts on this movie, let me just explain the story of the Polar Express based off of the book. Polar Express is the story of a little boy who does not believe in Santa anymore, who goes on a little adventure to the North Pole in a train called the Polar Express. He meets Santa, starts believing in him again, goes home, believing in Santa. That's literally the story of the Polar Express. Now let me explain what happens in the movie of the Polar Express. So this boy doesn't believe in Santa. He gets on this train called the Polar Express. On his way, he meets this girl who loses her ticket. He has to go give her ticket back. He meets this homeless man on the roof. Then he meets the girl in the front of the train again, who's right now in the middle of watching over the train and running the train while the train conductor is fixing up in the front. But then the train track are underneath the ice, so they are like sliding on the ice. They have to try to steer the train through this ice. They have to do this, they have to do this, they have to do that. They get to the North Pole eventually. Then 3 of the kids get separated and they have to go on this whole adventure through there, trying to survive through these death traps to finally get back to Santa. And then they meet Santa, and they talk to Santa, and then they go back home. I could go into even more depth about the whole story, but the whole fact of the matter is, they took this little picture book where there's some scenes in this movie that's in the picture book. The opening scene where he gets on the train, the scene with the hot chocolate, the scene at the North Pole, and the ending scene. That's literally the whole story. It's literally just a fun adventure about this boy on a train who goes and sees Santa. And they take this and make it into this action-filled movie with all this like stakes, and it makes no sense. It takes you out of the story so much. The animation is somehow not the worst part of this. How? The animation looks terrible when you see people's faces. When it's not dealing with people's faces, it looks okay. But man. Let's start with the characters for the movie. So the little boy doesn't have that much of a character. There's this little girl with her smile and all. I don't know what's up with that. She's just... If I was that little boy, I'd be like, please get away from me. Yeah, he's creepy. Very creepy. She's like stalking him and very creepy like. And then there's this other little boy who's just like supposed to be this nerdy little kid who's just the most annoying thing ever. Just constantly nagging with these things that nobody cares about. There's this other little boy who's this really poor kid. We'll get back to him later because there's a whole thing going on there. Then there's the train conductor. He's the other character who really is worth mentioning, who went from being this kind train conductor to being this guy who hates kids. He acts like he despises kids and suddenly likes kids again. He's just always nagging the main character and just being so like, let's put it this way, right? There's a whole subplot with one girl not having a ticket. So he's like, I'm gonna have to take you out of here. And the look he puts on his face thinks he's gonna go chuck her off the train or behead her or something. And I wouldn't put it past that guy to do that. He looks like he acts like he would totally do that to a kid that he doesn't like. That is not supposed to be the train conductor from the Polar Express. He's supposed to be this kind-hearted guy who doesn't really get any lines, but you can tell he's like kind-hearted and he's a nice train conductor of this train for these kids going to Santa. But as I was saying, the little boy who's poor. One of his big things is he doesn't believe in Santa. He doesn't believe in Christmas because he's too poor that he's never really got Christmas. Right? So he tells the main character and the little girl this. And the little girl's response was, but Christmas is so great! You get Christmas presents and explain all the stuff that she gets, and literally right after he explained, I don't get that, and I don't like Christmas, she says, but it's great because you get this. And he's just like, but I don't get this. And the scene just ends. And for the whole movie, he just keeps being like, I don't like Christmas because it's a sad time. and I don't get why people like it, because you don't get, like, I never get gifts and stuff like that, and it's just like, so in one aspect you're supposed to be like, oh my goodness, he's so, like, that's so sad, and like he's gonna learn a lesson in the end about, like, he's gonna be like, he's gonna get what he wants, or like, I mean, there's like be something where he realizes that Christmas is really real, and there's somewhat that. But then when he gets to the North Pole and Santa says hello to him, he just says, oh yeah, now you have figured out the real meaning of Christmas, it's the friends. And I'm like, Santa's gaslighting him and saying, yeah, I never bought you presents, and I know that's the reason why you don't like Christmas, is because you have been treated terribly because you're a poor person. And now I'm gonna just say, but it's friends that really matters, so that's all good, right? I don't have to do anything for you anymore because you have friends. Why does everyone want to torture this kid by keep reminding him how terrible he has it? Why? The other thing that's really weird about this movie is the homeless guy on the roof, who's maybe a ghost, or you never quite know. There's kind of hinted at that he's a ghost. What does his include? Why is he in this movie? He's just pops up in random scenes. There's supposed to be this aspect that he might be just like trying to put more doubt into the main character. I don't know, but he's there and he's pointless. So for the most part, what I'll say about this movie is the definition of a pointless add-ons to a short story. They could have easily have made and like I would have said, yeah, this is an awesome Christmas story you should watch every year, if they had just taken the same animation they did, even how terrible it is, and just did the original story to that. A 20-minute little Christmas short about the Polar Express. It would have been a very cute little story, but no, they had to make it almost 2 hours long, and they had to add all this stuff to make it so the train ride wasn't perfect. The train ride wasn't this magical thing anymore. It was this terrifying death trap of, I'm gonna get killed because we're gonna fall into the ice. The ice is cracking around us. The back of the train is starting to go underwater. Like all this type of stuff. They're like, oh no! And then they get through it. Then they get to the North Pole. They get separated from the other people, and they have to try to find their way back to Santa and the elves and all, while almost being killed by present machines and different stuff like that. I don't know why they thought it was a good idea to make this movie as long as they did. If you want to read a story about a little boy who goes on a train and meets Santa, read the book. Don't watch this movie. That's my final say about this. The visuals are not that good in this movie, as a lot of people have mentioned. The story is just bonkers crazy. The add-ons are like weird as heck. They just added a bunch of unnecessary stuff to take away from this little magical story about a train going to, with a bunch of kids on it, going to see Santa. So guys, tell me your thoughts on this. Have you guys watched this? Did you guys grow up watching this? Do you guys like it? If you guys haven't watched it, don't, in my opinion, don't watch this. It's not good at all. There's nothing you can get out of this. Thank you guys for watching. Merry Christmas. This has been the Movie Night Review. Peter Waring, signing off.